Hi and welcome to today's reading. Today's reading is a big one. I've been pulling through the messages, the energy for this particular reading for months now. Little fragments, little pieces of the puzzle. And finally today I've got some time. I'm going to sit down. I've spent the last few hours just collecting all of my notes together. And I'm going to give you that information, and then I'm going to pull some cards. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy, as I said, prior to the reading, messages prior to the reading. Comes through in songs, in visions, in dream messages, in little pieces of the puzzle that my guides share with me that allow me to piece together a bigger picture. A lot of my messages at the moment are referencing things that are happening in a biblical sense. You don't necessarily have to be hardcore religious to watch this reading. My readings are my journey through the tarot, through my own spirituality. I am fascinated by signs and synchronicities. And if you see something once, might be random. If you see the same thing a second, a third time, it's a message. Now, I don't normally hold a crystal, but I was called to hold this one. I'm pretty sure it's aventurine, and I don't know what its healing qualities are. But lots of green references in this reading, which is maybe why I was called to pick it up. We are all going through a massive spiritual awakening. We are all tapping into our God-given gifts. Some are a little further ahead on the journey. Others are a little further back. But we are all on the journey. You may be feeling at the moment, as I am, fairly heavy. Sometimes I can pump out 3 or 4 readings a day. This week I've had 4 or 5 days off just to sort of sit and take in the messages. I often say my brain has too many tabs open. And as I said before this reading, I've literally got a pile of messages that I've been receiving the past 3 or 4 years, but for this particular reading over the past couple of months. And I had to find each little piece and kind of collate it into one section of my notebook so that it's less confusing when I'm trying to give the information to you. And obviously I want you to be able to, I want there to be flow as I'm giving that information to you. Now please excuse my belly at the moment. I'm fasting, so it's grumbling. I did learn the other day that fasting aligns with the number 777, which is spiritual revolution. 777 is the wheel of fortune. It's Jupiter energy. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an illustrator. All of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs. If you're called to any of those, the links to them can be found in the description box. Any songs that I mention, any movies, anything like that, I'll also list in the description box. If you're called to intuitively, you can click on the link. There might be more messages either in the movie, in the TV series. There could also be messages in the lyrics of the song, the album cover, the name of the artist, what was going on with the artist at the time. Also, the music videos of songs have great hidden messages. There's messages everywhere for you. The 18 months that we're in now, starting back in January this year, working all the way through to the middle of 2026. The North Node, which is our collective path forward, is in Pisces, which is spirituality, tapping into your spiritual gifts, listening to the internal compass. And we're about to go through a big rebirth. And these are the messages that are coming through in this particular reading. So I'm going to pop this guy down, and I just don't know where I want to put him. I'm going to pop him there. I'm going to get an angel card first. Oh, we've got Metatron. Wow. On the bottom, 39. Rahel. Heals the sick. That's the Three of Swords. This is beautiful. Okay, Metatron, this particular card aligns with the Wheel of Fortune. Now, as I said, the Wheel of Fortune is 777. Fasting, it's Jupiter energy. I find spiritually, and this might be a message for somebody, I find spiritually when I fast, and you can just do a 12-hour fast. I mean, obviously, if you've got medical things going on, then consult, a professional. But you can do a 12-hour fast. You can do a 24-hour fast. The last big one that I did a 3-day fast. Obviously, you're still consuming water. But I find that when I'm fasted, I get incredible, incredible spiritual messages. Actually, I watched a thing this morning, and it was talking about, and maybe it's why it came up, and this often happens. I'll get these random videos that pop up. It popped up in my feed on Instagram, and I can't even find it because I'm recording on my phone. Otherwise, I'd show you. But it was a guy who'd put into, I don't know, ChatGPT, some sort of AI program, and asked about what was Jesus' mission here. And essentially, the comments that came back were that he had gone through a period in his life where he completely removed himself from the world. He went and studied all different religions, learned the art of fasting. He spent the beginning part of his life going through a huge spiritual awakening. He came here as a man, went through this huge spiritual awakening by pulling in, through life experience, all of the lessons that he needed to learn, the Celestial Scribe, the Book of Life, in order to teach that Christ consciousness to the world. And if you think about Jesus, he didn't have a church. He was a wanderer. If you think about John the Baptist, who baptized Jesus, they literally just went into a river. It's about finding that Christ-like consciousness, that inner divinity within. It's about not necessarily needing a temple or it's your inner temple. I did a reading a couple of days ago. You'll find it in the playlist on your inner temple. Anyway, this ChatGPT, whatever it was that came back with this information, it was essentially that he came and he planted this seed. And of course it was looked down upon because the powers that be want you in the temple, want you in the church, want you in the, there's a hierarchy and an order. And he was kind of saying, well, you find it within. Interesting. The Celestial Scribe. The Celestial Scribe. Let's pop that there. I'm actually going to pop that on there. And I just want to get a little bit more about... So that particular angel aligns with... I just had to get my iPad and look it up. That particular angel aligns with Genesis 5:24. And it's talking about Enoch, the book of Enoch, which is a book that was taken out of the Bible. Let me just, give me a second. Yeah, the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch is apocalyptic in theme and discusses Enoch's experiences with fallen angels, divine secrets, and the fate of human soul after death. Its various religious messages reflect the mindset of society over several centuries, leading to doubts about its authenticity and authorship. Interesting. It's not something I've read. It is something that pops up quite frequently as recommended for you. A lot of those videos tend to be like 3 hours long, and who's got 3 hours to sit and watch a video? So if something does pop up frequently, and this is a message to myself as well, I just put something on 2 times speed and I'll listen to it that way, because then a 3-hour video becomes, an hour and a half. Interesting though, that Interesting. Okay, let's get... This is my Divine Messages Oracle deck. Let's see what wants to come out here. Life purpose. This is your life purpose. Our life purpose, our collective life purpose is to go through, I want to say, this is a spiritual awakening. To go through this spiritual awakening at this particular moment in time. The Four of Swords, which is healing after heartbreak. A spiritual time of rest. Yeah, healing after disappointment. 4-4, 2 4s, and we've got the World there. The end of a cycle, and we've got the Ace of Pentacles. And look, death. Death and rebirth. Wow, this is really beautiful. Okay. So let me give you some of the messages. And there are many. So many. Okay, so I was pulling through the energy of Pentecost. I've been doing a lot of research, or a lot of things have been coming through to me about Pentecost. Now, Pentecost this year, we are the 3rd of May. Pentecost this year is June 8. If you're not religious, Pentecost is when the Holy Spirit appeared to the 12 disciples after Jesus' death and resurrection. And essentially gave them the wisdom, the go-ahead to go out into the world and to spread that message of this, Christ consciousness, which is where we are in our evolution at the moment. Now, it also aligns with the Feast of Weeks because it's 40 days. Sorry, it's not 40, because it's 50 days after Passover and 50 days after Easter. Penti, and you have to excuse the background noise. I've got kids just waking up. Time to wake up, just waking up. Penti is Greek for 50. 50 days after the resurrection and 50 days after Passover. There's a symbolic spiritual death in here because Easter was the 20th of April. And Pope Francis died on the 21st of April. The channel message that I got, Pentecost is the spiritual green light for your future. It's your crowning, it's your birthday, birth, new beginning. And when you think about that word crowning, when a mother gives birth, just before the baby enters the world, it crowns. It's a birth, a spiritual birth. And the irony is that on Pentecost, they had flames above their head. And there's a term that is used in childbirth called the ring of fire. Interesting. Okay, so Pentecost is the 4th feast day. It's symbolic of the color green. Green is the 4th color of the rainbow. And I'm going to bring, give me a second. I knew it was there from yesterday, reading yesterday. Revelation 4. And there was a rainbow around the throne with the appearance like an emerald. As I said, it's your inauguration, it's your throning. So the 4th color of the rainbow is green. 4 corners, 4 winds, 4 cardinal signs, 4 pillars that hold up heaven. Now, if you've been with me for a little while, you know that I use gematria and Strong's Concordance. I find that there are hidden messages within the alphanumeric value of words. So gematria is a tool, a biblical tool, where you put in a word and every letter has a numerical value. And when you put in a word, it'll bring up the full numerical value of that word. And then you can see all the other words that align with that alphanumeric value. You then take that alphanumeric value and you put it into Strong's Concordance, which is essentially is an index, a numerical index of all the words as they appear chronologically in any biblical text, Old and New Testament, And there is always, I find there is always a hidden spiritual meaning. It's almost like the celestial scribe. This is the book of life. It's almost like God had it all written in the book of life. And you just had to open up the pages and find it. This is part of your spiritual journey, the evolution of your soul. So the first thing I put in was June 8, as in, now when you put words into Strong's Concordance, you have to write the word. You can't write well, you can write a number, but I wrote June 8. 974 and 594 are the two numbers that it aligns with. 974, olive tree, violets, Phoenix, Australia, Pulitzer, the book of life, Castor and Pollux, and wicked game. In Strong's, it aligns with tower and little book. The other number that June 8 aligns with is 594, Jupiter, which is 777, the Wheel of Fortune, Rapture, Ascension, Evergreen, Firmament, Judgment, Fortune, again, the Wheel of Fortune, Golden Dawn, a new beginning, Poetry, the Book of Life, Everton, and in Strong's Concordance, it aligns with narrow plumb line acceptance. If you think about a birth, going through the birth canal, it's almost like we're in labor pains at the moment, going through the birth canal. You are about to be reborn. And it's aligning. There's some sort of spiritual alignment. Well, I know there is some sort of spiritual alignment that aligns with Pentecost. Now, that word evergreen has been coming through a lot. I get a lot of messages. I think they're coming from my grandfather. His middle name was Vernon. When I looked that up, it means evergreen. And once I looked that up, I then started seeing it everywhere. That E-V-E-R. So you think of Eve. Eve as a woman gave birth. So evergreen, 915 or 528. 915 is Mary Magdalene in the flesh, starry night, your God is El. And in Strong's Concordance, it talks about a foreigner, a piece that's separate, like almost like a foreign object. It also aligns with the number 528, which aligns with the words purple, Exodus, rise up, fourth. Now, as I said before, Pentecost is the fourth feast day. The fourth colour is green. We're talking about evergreen here. The wicked. Think of the movie Wicked. It's green, like the symbolism is green. Polar bear. And in Strong's Concordance, it aligns with an Egyptian deity or encounter. I also put in the word Pentecost. 453 and 702. 702 aligns with David's star, market crash, it's go time, chosen by God, divine love, Zelensky, and the sixth seal. Now the sixth seal, it's talked about in Revelation 6, 6:12 and 6:13. A great earthquake, the sun shall become black, the moon will become blood red, and the fig tree drops its figs. Now that fig tree prophecy I've talked about before. So this is, when we talk about a prophecy, it's talking about something that is destined, the celestial scribe, the book of life. It's something that is destined to happen. It's part of the evolution of your soul. The fig tree prophecy is Revelation 6:13. And the stars of the heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree dropped its late figs, when it's shaken with a mighty wind. The pomegranate has 613 seeds. The Torah has 613 commandments. Muhammad revealed the Quran in the year 613 AD. Now, an early harvest of figs aligns with Passover, which is that count from Passover through to the Feast of Weeks, which is 50 days, which is Pentecost. The Song of Songs talks about the figs. The Song of Songs is a love poem. And in Gematria, 613, if we're looking at the 613 number, and I've looked at it in depth before, but I'm just going to give you some. 613 in Gematria and Strong's is banned imprisonment. Adam and Eve tell the truth. And it also aligns with the number 612. These numbers might be of significance to you, which is why I'm kind of guided to give them to you. 612, Zarak, a rising of light, true blue, and the sound of silence. Now, I looked up the different numbers that the color green gives in the Bible. Smaragdos, which means emerald. 4665, which equals 21, which is 3 sevens. 3 sevens is the Wheel of Fortune. Hugros, wet from rain. 5,200 adds up to a 7. Again, this 777. This reading will be found in the playlist that I've titled The Wheel Within a Wheel. It's all of these 777 references. And then 5515, pale green. 5515 adds up to 16, and a 1 and a 6 again is a 7. So because Pentecost was pulling in that 6th seal, I decided to have a look at the 7th seal. This is stuff that, now I'm Catholic, but I don't read, it's not I don't read. I read things that I'm called to read. I don't know every verse or at all. The 7th seal is what I looked up. The 7th seal is 1064 and 780. There might be one word that I say that takes you on your spiritual journey down a rabbit hole. Take what resonates, leave the rest. The 7th seal, 1064 or 780. 1064 is beauty and the beast, olive trees, light exposes darkness. In Strong's, it aligns with firstborn daughter or a child, a belly or a womb. So we're talking about this rebirth, this beautiful rebirth that you are here on this planet at this time to experience on a soul level. It also aligns with the number 780. Purple rain, we the people, life purpose. 7-7, go figure, right? Saint Germain, the prodigal son, Archangel Raphael. Now Archangel Raphael's color is green. Won a Grammy, and King Solomon. And again, it aligns with, in Strong's, it aligns with of foreign origin. So if you think about a birth, it's going from one world to another. I'm just going to get a card for the energy that the collective is in. The 7 of Pentacles. Beautiful. In my other deck, that's my Jacob and Rachel card. 7, where are you planting your seeds? Where are you about to plant your seeds? Where have you planted your seeds and what is about to grow? The 7 of Pentacles is Saturn in Taurus. So in a reading, not yesterday, the day before, I was getting the charge of the Light Brigade and I didn't know the reference to it. Sometimes that happens. I'll get these messages that kind of are trying to pop in, and they'll pop into a reading that they don't really align with, and then I'll realize later down the track that it actually aligns. And this is what happened this morning when I was putting together this reading. I kept hearing it, and I've been getting messages about emus. Now, emu is an Australian flightless bird, very similar to an ostrich. It's on our coat of arms, along with a kangaroo. But I was getting a song, takes me back way, 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 way back. My kids are in their 20s. I'm not sure when it came out. It was the Wiggles DVD with Steve Irwin. And there's a song on there called Old Man Emu. Now, I've been seeing number plates on cars with the word emu. I've been looking at the emu in terms of Aboriginal astrology, so the Indigenous astrology of Australia. And I didn't know why I was getting these emu messages. But then when I looked up the lyrics of the song, Old Man Emu, I kind of had this ding moment, this epiphany. And that's often how it happens. So the emu in the sky, on a spiritual level, on an Indigenous level, connects the land to the sky, a creator spirit that once flew over and protected the land. He's a flightless bird. Now that reminds me of that song from Twilight, which has been coming through probably 2 or 3 weeks. Almost every time I do a random shuffle, that song comes through. It comes through because it's meant to come through in this reading. flightless bird. There might be some lyrics in that song. It lays eggs. The emu, the female emu, lays eggs. Ding, ding. The female emu lays eggs in May, June. The end of May, early June, which is when Pentecost is. And what colour are the emu eggs? They're green. Go figure. God is amazing. They're green. They're a dark green. Now, the emu in Aboriginal stories, in Indigenous stories, forms part of the Milky Way. Taurus, the bull, the milk, the cow, you know, mother, baby. And it's almost like an emu lying in the sky. The Indigenous people looked at the darkness around the stars as well as the star itself in terms of how they made an image in the sky. It's actually really beautiful because it's this, you know, dark and light. And when you think about a birth, a crowning, your birth out of the darkness and into the light. That's a song, actually. So it aligns with the Pleiades, which is, you would know it as the Seven Sisters, which is also a Dreamtime story. And it also happens in Taurus season, which is May, and it aligns with the 4 royal stars of Persia. Taurus holds the Pleiades, but also holds the royal star of Aldebaran, which is referenced by Archangel Michael, the Watcher of the East, the Eye of the Celestial Bull. Now, when you think about Easter, which is where that 50-day count, Jesus came into Jerusalem through the Eastern Gate, the Watcher of the East. Powerful leadership, integrity. This is what you're birthing. Now, in the southern sky, where the emu is in the southern sky, the Southern Cross, which is a constellation that sits above Australia, the Southern Cross is on the right. Scorpio or Scorpius is on the left. Now, Scorpius is the gate of heaven, this ascension that you're going through. The gate of the gods, walking through the gate of man, which is the eastern gate. Given the key and walking through the gate of the gods, which is Scorpio. A flightless bird, almost you're getting your wings. A swan song. I did a swan reading too. It also sits with its head in coal sack. Now that's a constellation. I don't really know much about that. And near the Great Rift. A tearing apart. It's so beautiful. This reading is so beautiful. There's massive, massive, big, transformative energy that we are all sitting in at the moment, which is aligning with Pentecost this year. Because if you think about Pentecost, this fire that came through, almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And I did have that actually. I had Phoenix Australia. That was June 8, 974, Phoenix Australia. This bird, this flightless bird that can now fly. The Great Rift, almost tearing away from everything that no longer serves you. Now, I looked, as I said, into that song, Old Man Emu, and realised that the emu sits on the 50-cent coin of Australia, on the coat of arms of the 50-cent coin of Australia. So now we've got another tie-in with 50, which is Pentecost, Greek for 50. Emu plumes are a symbolic feather that are found on certain brigades in the Australian Army, and they are found in the Light Brigade, which is ironic because I just discovered that this morning. Well, I knew my husband was in the military for 15 years, and I knew I'd seen them, the feathers on top of their slouch hats, but I hadn't pieced it together. Out of the darkness and into the light. And as I said to you, I had heard the charge of the Light Brigade. That had come through in the messages for yesterday's reading, because I think it was trying to make sure it made its way into this reading. Now, the charge of the Light Brigade holds special significance because in a historical text, it was the Light Brigade, the Australian Light Horse Division, because back then they were soldiers on horseback. Now they are, they're in tanks. The Australian Light Brigade were the light horsemen, and they had these emu plumes in their hats. And it references a battle, the charge of the light horse, the Battle of Beersheba on the 31st of October 1917. It was a battle of Gaza, go figure, right? It is known as one of the last great cavalry charges in history. All of these tie-ins. There's also a bit of a funny story. And that 1917, that soundtrack has been coming through in my random shuffles as well. And it aligns with Our Lady of Fatima because she appeared in 1917, May 13th, 1917. So the funny story, there's a funny story. It's called the Emu War. And it is something literally that did happen in Australia. When all of the men went away to the First World War, and a lot of them didn't come home, they didn't have enough people to work the farms. So they sent the army out to help the families work the farms. And at that particular time, this was in 1932, there was this huge explosion of emus. And they were eating all the wheat on the farms, ruining all the crops. And so the army decided to send, get this, the 7th Heavy Battery Royal Artillery, again that's 7 number, charged with culling emus. They let off 2,500 rounds, but only 200 emus were killed. And there was an excerpt in there which just caught my attention because it said Green. Federal politician Al Green was asked, given that this was a battle, will the soldiers receive a medal? And he said medals should only go to the emus. Now, there is a movie about it called The Emu War, and it's produced by Umbrella Entertainment. But essentially, these emus could run like the clappers. So they could run so fast. So they were evading bullets. But they also had really, really thick skin. And I think it's symbolic of the journey that you've been on. And as I said, I was getting that poem. Now, it's Alfred Lord Tennyson, Charge of the Light Brigade. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward. All in the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade. Charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Now, it goes on and on and on. I'm not going to read it all because I've given you a lot of information, but you might be called to read that poem. And I think it's specifically the last verse. Once I put down all of this information, your rebirth, your crowning, the end of the darkness, your spiritual assignment is about to be born. You're about to be crowned. Finally, I looked up the word green. 137 and 294. 137, Sigma, garden, grain. 8th, DNA of Adam. In Strong's Concordance, it aligns with place of springs. And then the other number it aligns with is 294. Whale, endgame, poem, to enrobe or invest. You've invested in yourself and now you're about to be crowned. And this was just some stuff. It just fell out of the book. It was stuff that I'd put in probably 18 months ago, 2 years ago. Algira. There's something here because I've got emus on the same page, which is why it caught my attention. Sky Father. But look, June 6th. So it's the same. It's within the same date range. Algira, 290 degree orbit, a dwarf planet, god of the dream time. This might be something you might want to look up. Gemini, passed down through speech and song. That's the Aboriginal people. Maybe your rebirth is about the information that you are about to impart, about the spiritual journey you've been on. To love ourselves, to be ourselves, create a God of the desert tribes, then retire to the sky after he created the earth. Algeria is the dwarf planet that aligns with the dreaming stories, the creator God of Dreamtime. There we go. And then this was the other one, 1917, which is that movie that came through. It also aligns with that battle of Beersheba. This was just the dates that Our Lady of Fatima. 1917, 1234 1170, witness poetic justice and swimmers. That might be a message for somebody. So let's get into this reading about this rebirth. Now that I've given you 10 hours worth of information, I want to know the energy that you are currently in. So this is the energy around you. The opportunity to plant new seeds. The energy that you are in. King of Wands, taking action. The King of Wands is the sun in Aries. Illuminated. Aries is Emperor energy. It's forward movement. It's about putting into action the things that you are spiritually passionate about, because you've had the enlightenment, the sun in Aries. And a balanced emperor is a balance of action and wisdom. And actually, Neptune has just gone into Aries. And I think, where did I write that? Yeah, I did. This is weeks ago. Neptune went into Aries March 2025. Neptune is about the epiphany. It's about going down to the depths. It's about, and it'll be there until 2039. It's the Hangman. It's Poseidon. It's Emperor energy. So it's 14 years in each sign, 2 sevens. So it's leaving Pisces. It left Pisces in March, and it's entering Aries. Well, Pisces is spirituality, so it's the spiritual lessons that you learn. But Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it's the birth. It's your rebirth. How beautiful. What's happening in your soul? Ten of Swords, the end. Karmic completion. All the lessons that you've learnt. Tens roll over to a new beginning. That's beautiful. Yeah, all the lessons that you've learned, all the pain that you've gone through, the birth pains. Finally, the baby is here. What is happening? Not what is happening. This is the message from the man upstairs about this rebirth that you're having. The Five of Swords. Now, the Five of Swords is Venus in Aquarius. Somebody with Venus in Aquarius is somebody that does not follow the norms. So we went back to a foreigner of foreign origin, somebody who does not want to fit in with the crowd. And that happens when you've gone through a spiritual awakening. You no longer, or you very, very quickly recognize what you do and don't align with. And you're happy to be on your own, to do your own thing. Because you know that it aligns with you spiritually. There's Venus in Aquarius. That's kind of rebel energy. The outcome. Eight of Pentacles. Where you've planted the seeds. The Sun in Virgo. Where you've planted the seeds, they're growing. Virgo is about a soul journey. Virgo is the Hermit card. It's a dark night of the soul. And again, we go back to that birth reference of, 9 months in the womb and then this birth. The Sun in Virgo. The Sun in Virgo is the Jesus card. The Nine of Pentacles is Mother Mary. What are you birthing? Justice. That's divine balance. Truth. Internal truth. It's Libra, it's Venus, it's nurturing your soul and cutting out What doesn't align with you? Really beautiful. Okay, let's have a look here. Two of Cups. As a balancing out of your divine feminine, divine masculine energy. It's also the card of the soul contract. So a soul contract that you have with the man upstairs in terms of balancing out that energy. Now, because you balanced it out, you're getting this rebirth. You're getting this crowning. You are getting this robing, this crown upon your head. And actually that was interesting too, because there's a passage in Revelation and it talks about the woman with a crown of 12 stars on her head, clothed with the sun, with the moon at her feet. Now, I'd not really heard or read about that, but Pentecost, which is 50, the Australian 50-cent coin has, I'll find it, let me show you. I don't know what it's called. It's not, obviously it's not a hexagon. You can see the kangaroo and the emu, but it's got 12 points. 12 points, 12 stars on her head. I don't know what the 50 cent is called. An interesting 50 years of NAIDOC. That was last year. NAIDOC is the National Aboriginal and Islanders Day Observance Committee. Interesting. But yeah, so this woman with a crown of 12 stars on her head, clothed with the sun. So in illumination, enlightenment, and the moon at her feet. So a balance of divine feminine and divine masculine energy. Beautiful. That could also mean as well, you know, the birthing of a relationship, because you are now in divine balance. Look at that. Empress on the bottom. Page of Swords, that is the sun in Gemini. Again, the sun. Birthing a truth. Birthing the true you. Actually, that was one of the things. I think it was True Blue. 1917 was True Blue. This is what's happening in 3D, the High Priestess. You've tapped in spiritually. The High Priestess is what's hidden. A baby's hidden in a womb until it's birthed. The High Priestess is the moon. The Four of Pentacles. That's the Sun in Capricorn, and the Five of Wands. I would almost say an internal battle that you've been in. Did we have a dragon? We had a dragon. And on the bottom, the Seven of Swords, which is clearing away any illusion that is around you. It's us standing in your power. The Ten of Swords, this is what's happening in your soul. The Seven of Cups, which is Venus in Pisces, and the Temperance card. This is beautiful. You're so balanced. Making the right decisions, making the right choices. A Seven of Cups can also be seen as a card of illusion, not knowing which to pick. But because you're in alignment, because you've learnt the lessons, you can now choose what is right for you, and you can stand in your power with this Venus in Aquarius. Stand in your power without the worry of what anybody else around you thinks. The Knight of Wands. That is magnetic attracting energy. Things now, this is the message from the man upstairs. Because you are now going through this rebirth, you will start to attract in the Knight of Wands. You will start to attract in, and attract in fast. People, messages, It's almost like you are the magician now, just drawing everything in. And what I found in the last couple of months is I used to go looking for things, and now I feel at the moment I'm in very balanced energy. And what's happening is that I think about something, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that way. And I'll go off on a tangent. Like, for example, you know, I'd not seen that NAIDOC 50-cent coin. But now, within a day or two, I actually won't, because I've voiced it. I'm talking about things that you don't voice, things that your phone isn't picking up. Information that I need, literally, I'm drawing it to me like a magnet. On a subconscious level, this is what you're doing because you've tapped in. Because you're going through this rebirth. The Six of Swords. So you've got a progression here. This is a card of divine guidance. That is a card of the moon in Aquarius. You are being divinely guided, divinely led, because you are now on a journey on your spiritual path. A spiritual rebirth, the Eight of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles, look at that. That's happily ever after. Everything that you could wish for. You planted the seeds, planted the spiritual seeds, they're growing, and now this is the outcome. It's like you're waiting for the harvest. The magician. I said that. You are the magician. That's beautiful. Okay, and we've got the Chariot on the bottom. Now, let me give you some insight into this Chariot card, and I wanted to see what... It's all right. If it's meant to come out, it'll come out. So, currently, the planet of Jupiter is sitting in Gemini. If we look at the Jupiter in Gemini card, let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. It'll be right at the bottom. And that's interesting because it's not in that one. It's not in that one, which means there's two of them in here. Double held back. Okay, so there's two. You may have felt like you literally could not move, like you were a flightless bird. If you look, it's trapped energy. It's stuck in the womb. It's stuck in the dark. It's trapped energy. This placement, Jupiter in Gemini, has been there since June last year. June 5th, June 6th last year. Jupiter changes from Jupiter in Gemini to Jupiter in Cancer, which is the Chariot. Look at that, which is freedom. Nine of Pentacles, Mother Mary. Mother Mary gives birth. Changes from Jupiter in Gemini to Jupiter in Cancer on the 5th of June this year. The Chariot is movement forward. It's the number 7. So Jupiter, which is 777, you will then have 777 and the number 7. So 4 sevens. The wheel is turning forward. It's a freedom energy. It is 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. And a beautiful black and white butterfly is just flying past my window. It's transformation. It's rebirth. This is happening. And it's happening within a day or two of this June 8th Pentecost date. Now, that one belongs in here. The Hermit, the spiritual awakening. The spiritual work that you've done will bring things into balance for you. Okay, let's get a moon. 4 corners, 4 winds. So the number 7 might be significant, and the number 4 also. We've got Taurus here, and then we've got the void of course moon here. So the void of course moon is basically when the moon isn't aspecting anything, and it is not, it's Cinderella energy. It's leaving one sign, so it's out of one sign but not quite in the next. It's just before midnight. Is it today or is it tomorrow? It's the precipice of this rebirth, void of course moon. And it's almost the stillness. It's like a stop and catch your breath. New moon in Gemini, brace yourself, cosmic solutions are en route. And then get ready for some serious cash flow. The Taurus full moon promises prosperity galore. Okay, let's get some Scrabble tiles. In here, Scrabble tiles, letters and numbers, or call both out. Could be anything relating to the spiritual journey that you are on. Just take what resonates. You know, not everything will fit. Does make a little bit of noise, so I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we've got a H and a 4, a K and a 5, an L and a 1, a C and a 3, an A and a 1, a V and a 4, a B and a 3, a D and a 2, a T and a 1, a G, chat GPT, a G and a 2, and an E and a 1. Okay, 3 final cards. Let's see what wants to come out. Anything else you need to know about this birth, about this crowning that you're about to have, your birthday. Channel message. Pentecost is a spiritual Pentecost is the spiritual green light for your future, your crowning, your birthday. King of Swords. There's a crown. Eight of Wands. That's the card of divine timing. That's now. And the Nine of Cups. Wish fulfillment. How beautiful. Wish fulfillment after disappointment. Maybe you thought that you were going to be in the dark. Maybe you thought that you were going to be a flightless bird. When the reality is, this is what's opening up on. Justice is about to be served for you. Queen of Cups, because you tapped into your intuition. These cards are flying everywhere. Because you poured the love into yourself. That's what I want to say. You poured the love into yourself. Okay. That's what I've got for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. Any songs that I mentioned, as I said, will be listed in the description box. Any movies, I don't think I mentioned any movies, TV series, anything like that. The links to my tarot and oracle decks are also in the description box if you're called to any of those. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in another reading.